One.
Going live on Facebook. Going live on Facebook. Live on Facebook. Going live on Facebook. Live on Facebook. Going live on Facebook. Live on Facebook. Going live. Are we live on Facebook?
We're live on Facebook.
Live on Facebook. Okay, cool.
Dude, Brad Hart is here with us live in the conscious entrepreneur community. I'm so grateful for you, brother. He's the mastermind behind the Masterminds and the author of the 8-Minute Mastermind, the book titled How to Travel Anywhere for Free, Solve Any Problem, and add an additional $100,000 to your business in 5 to 10 hours or a month. So, boom, what a value promise. Just for our audience watching, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. But Brad Hart is the kind of person that kind of like walks his talk. I've actually met him at a mastermind in his beautiful home, exactly where you're filming from right now, and right there. And you've introduced me to some of my best friends in the world today, and amazing business connections, and the power and the value of that. It's priceless. I've invited people to come to your events over and over again. And I'd recommend everybody to buy this book because it's amazing. I just read it last night, and I actually immediately implemented it today. I just had a coaching call, and some of the questions in there are really powerful, and I could use it immediately. So, dude, thank you for that. With all of that said, please tell our friends who you are and why you're awesome.
Yeah, so my name is Brad Hart. I'm the only child from Long Island, New York, and if you know anything about Long Island, it's sarcasm is our love language. And growing up, I had an accent, not so bad anymore, but it comes out around my mom, who's from Levittown. And I was a kid who got bullied a lot, and I didn't have a lot of friends. And I would go on the swing set every single day by myself at recess. And I remember praying as like an 8-year-old kid that one day I'd have friends all over the world. And through the vehicle of Masterminds, I was able to accomplish that. Now I'm in my 30s. I've traveled to 25 countries, 43 states. I've been a part of 28 masterminds. I've started 10 of my own. I'm really dedicated to helping other people build masterminds. It's been the number one thing that if I had to throw everything away and start over from scratch, I would do masterminds because it's brought so many wonderful people and incredible opportunities in my life. So with me and my mission, the Make More Marbles mission as a whole is like, we don't want to be the hungry hippos just grabbing all the marbles. We really want to be making more marbles. We want to be adding more value to other people's lives. And the way we do that is really simple, is we seek in every encounter to diagnose, to create space, to serve and support and solve people's problems. And we do that through connecting resources, opportunities, people, and systems together. And that's a very simple analogy. It's just seeds and crops. We're planting seeds or growing crops. That's it. That's how we make marbles.
It's so beautiful, man. I love your mission. And you're also a fellow sort of impact-hungry person who wants to change the world on a major scale. And I think that's one of the things that's really attracted me to working with you and being your friend in the first place and consistently. Talk to me about the fuse and like your big picture cause in the world.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I just got really deep on this with somebody at a dinner I attended that Ben and Amber put on. They had this beautiful house overlooking the ocean. If you're familiar and interested and you're in San Diego and you want to check out one of the events, they're called Yitzhara. So it's Ben Aresti, and his name backwards is Yitzhara. That's Ytsera. So a gentleman there by the name of Landis White was asking me about this. So it's actually top of mind because he's doing something similar down in Barrio Logan with his impact project. So what it is lighting the fuse. The fuse stands for food, utilities, shelter, and education. It's just an acronym to remember the basics. This is what people need to get out of poverty and to have their basics covered. And what we want to do eventually is create a single housing solution that provides for all of these things using the levers of economics to bring things cheaper and cheaper. I mean, at this point in the world, if you want a cell phone, you can probably afford a cell phone. If you want internet, you can probably afford internet. And those things were not even possible 30 years ago or 10 years ago even. Like now, it's pretty easy to get access to a lot of things. And I think that's going to continue to happen. And where I really want it to happen, where I really want pricing to come down and demonetization to happen is in food, utility, shelter, and education, so that we can get to a point where when basic income comes along, that'll be able to be covered by that $1,500 stipend or whatever you're going to get. So having all those basics covered now allows you to shift your focus from surviving and scarcity to now, okay, I've got at least a floor through which I can't fall and I'm covered. As long as I don't do anything, people have free will, they can still spend on drugs or whatever. But, as long as I'm smart and I'm dedicated, I can bring myself up by the bootstraps and make a life and make an impact that's bigger than myself. really
I love
unleashing. It's
Dude,
really unleashing the possibility of people.
yeah, so we can go many directions with this, but I want to ask you when did you first become somebody like you, right? Who thinks really big and like makes these, bold visions and vision statements of, okay, we're literally tackling food, education, shelter, utilities, the biggest problems in the world. Like, when did it come from, okay, I'm trying to sort of just make some money as an entrepreneur, to, okay, we're going to solve the world's biggest problems? Was there like a specific moment that you recall?
Yeah, been a few moments. I'd love to say it was just one. One of them was reading Peter Diamandis' book about abundance in the future is better than you think. That was back in 2011. That influenced me greatly. Another one was when I was 26. I ran a hedge fund, and now I live by 3 rules, which are help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, make a lot of money. But at that time, I was only living by rule 3. So my whole life was driven up to that point by making more money, and I thought that would solve all my problems.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, I was right. It would solve my money problems, things that you can pay money to solve, but it didn't help me become fulfilled or successful in my own eyes based on who I really wanted to be in the world. So we had this $1 million month in a hedge fund where I was like, oh, this is more money than I've ever seen or heard of. And I had to ask myself, like, why do I feel so depressed? Why do I feel so disconnected and burned out and disassociated from what I truly wanted, which was to be around people? So I had to shift and change my impact story at that point. So to answer your question, just it comes down to there's all these little feathers in life, and I've learned to pay attention to the feathers before they become bricks and trucks full of bricks. Because I've been hit by one of those too. It's not fun. That's a whole other story for another time. But the main message here is I'm always listening and paying attention to what the world and spirituality. I'm a big spiritual believer. What life is telling me I need to do and step up into become next.
Powerful, man. I want to shift the focus for a minute to something that I've caught in the book that I think really speaks to who you are as a person, and maybe a little bit speaks to that spiritual connection. Because obviously we're here in the conscious entrepreneur community. I think that, spirituality and business aren't these separate entities that are, live in completely different silos. I think we probably have an understanding that our personal growth and development is going to be infused throughout, right? The whole journey.
And business is a spiritual game. It's the place you're going to grow the most.
Yeah.
You're literally creating something out of nothing. And that's the most divine thing I can think of.
So I'm going to read something to you, and maybe it's weird to read it to you. Maybe I'm reading it to the audience so that they know what's coming because you wrote this. I'm going to read to you what you told me here, okay? So what if we could tune out, stop being afraid and over-consuming all of the time? What if we could begin anew with a renewed sense of beauty and grace and connectedness to the world at large? What if we are no longer afraid to trust our fellow humans, but just love them by default? I'm here to say it's not only possible, it's a much better strategy. Brad Hart. Dude, I just wanted to call this out and say thank you for saying this, writing this, and living it. Because I remember coming to your event for the first time, and I live in Kansas City, so most of the time around other kinds of people, not Encinitas types of people. And so I remember, it was probably our first meeting, but like we're meeting there, we're masterminding, everybody's having breakthroughs and a great time, and getting this amazing, compassionate hug. And that you're like, I feel like it's your signature move, something that you like normally do. And that was normal, It's like we have a breakthroughs, we hug, like this is how we live. And Brad Hart, the person with the big heart. So this is something that really was memorable, and I think something that really stands out as a way to be as a human being and as a way to do business. So I would love, want to call that out as if you're looking for somebody to teach you how to do masterminds. I would go to the person that's, exuding love and connectedness energy, because that's who he is. Just my personal opinion. And two, I would love for you to elaborate a little bit on like how has your default way of life, love as a first sort of language, helped you as a business strategy, and how's that coming through?
Yeah, it's just like anything. When you choose to take a stand in the world, you polarize, right? So the people who are aligned with those values of love first and understanding, compassion, those are the ones that come to you first. And there's so many different ways to live your life. I'm not here to judge anybody's values. I'm just here to remind you that you have a set of core values and beliefs that are what you really are here to espouse to and to take a stand for. And if you're not taking a stand for them, you're not living into them, then you're going to see a lot of problems show up in your life. because you're not really choosing into it. And it's okay to change your values too if they're not serving you or if they're contradictory with what you really want. Right. So I've done a lot of work with Tony Robbins over the years. Now we're actually partnered up. I'm one of the speakers now for his KBB program. And the man's changed my life. But one of the things that I really got from Date with Destiny, I've been 3 times, is, you know, your goals and your values need to be aligned. And if they're not aligned, you need to shift. And there's other tools you can use like NLP to help you shift them. But you know, either one of the two has to give, or otherwise you're going to be living in conflict for your whole life. When your alignment is matched by your integrity, is matched by your word, is matched by your habits, like nothing is impossible. You can achieve anything.
That's my experience too, just being in alignment. So let's get into some of the business strategy type of things. Maybe in a nutshell, can you tell people who are curious to learn and to implement masterminds inside of their business, and maybe like, hey, I've heard of masterminds, I'm not really sure if it's for me. Can you tell them a little bit about how it creates freedom and impact in someone's business?
Sure. Yeah. And I think it just starts from the core desire, which is to serve people with what you know, right? Or maybe what you want to learn, right? Because you don't have to necessarily be an expert to run a mastermind. A lot of people get stuck on that point. You can be a non-expert reporter of other people's information. You bring in experts that are, you know, able to share with the group and add value, and that's valuable, and people will take that. Or you could be a knowledge broker, which is somebody who partners up with an expert who knows how to run masterminds, and then they just plug that into their business model and serve the people that they already have in their audience that want more of that person. So you don't have to be the expert. That's thing one. Thing two is the reason we like masterminds, because you can do a lot of things in the knowledge industry, right? You can ultimately create a lot of distinctions. You can create a lot of different types of content. But let's talk about like the big 4. You have books, you have coaching and consulting, you have courses, and you have mastermind. And books are great. You know, I just wrote a book, my second book. I love them. They're a labor of love. It took a year for that book to come out, and there's a lot of edits. I'm still collecting things I want to change in the next upgrade. And you know, a lot of books, unfortunately, they don't sell more than 1,000 copies. 95% of books you see in the bookstores, in major bookstores, are never going to sell more than 1,000 copies. I'm grateful and excited that we hit top 25 on Amazon the first day, which is really cool. And we're just going to continue to push and get the message out. But it was never my goal to be a bestseller. My goal is to impact people who need that message, right? And want to build masterminds. And then courses are great. I've launched a lot of courses, and we've done several $100,000 in revenue from courses every year. And they're great. They're a part of my business, but they're hard to start there because to make a really, truly great course, you're going to need a lot of work, right? There's a lot of polishing. There's a lot of teaching and just tips and tools to bring people through to the end. And even a great course, only about 9% of people are potential. So you need the marketing engine, you need the expertise, you need all these tools and systems. There's just so much overhead to build a really great course and market it and have that machine to market it and the team behind you to make it all happen. It's a lot. Like I had an affiliate launch a couple of years ago with the crypto course. We did, you know, it was a 7-figure build out, and we had 30 people on the team and 200 affiliates. And it's just a lot. It's all consuming. So it's not a really good place to start. There's a lot of risk in on those, right? You can coach and consult. It's a great place to start. But now you're one-on-one. You're on the income roller coaster. You sell a bunch of coaching, and you got to deliver it. And when they're gone, they stop paying, and you know it's up and down. And it takes up a lot of your time to scale. So, you know, books, coaching, consulting courses, they're all great. But I like masterminds because they give you a hybrid of all the benefits without as many of the negatives, right? And if you start a mastermind, you have this perfect coalition between like a workshop, a group, and a community where people are all coming together for a singular purpose. And it's kind of that sweet spot. And there's no overhead, no inventory, or very little, honestly. And you're able to really implement and get after it right away. And it's high ticket. You can sell it for a lot of money. So you don't need to be like messing around with $10 purchases and books and things like that. That's a front of the funnel type of stuff, but this is the core of the funnel. You have to concentrically work out to the stuff that's going to bring more people into your fold. But if you don't have a core way to serve them, like a mastermind, then you're probably wasting your time doing the other things first.
For sure. So I think like bringing in masterminds to a lot of, you know, coaches and consultants or course creators here is going to be game changer. Just to give people an idea, what are the different price points? Of course, you know, people could run them for free, but like, what are the different price points that people run masterminds in your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question, Miro. So I've been part of 28 masterminds that other people have run. anywhere from free and invite only, like one with Richard Branson, one with Tim Ferriss, and one with Neil Strauss. Well, that one was a paid one. All the way up to like 10,000 a year. One I'm actually a part of is now 100,000 a year, with Joel Marion and Dan Fleischman. So they kind of run all over the map, and it just comes down to like the goal of the people that are in it, the type of network, the type of trips and experiences that you're going to be paying for, and also the level of play at which all the participants are committed to. Right, so that's that $100,000 one is only going to make sense for like 7-figure earners and above, and some of the people in that group make 9 figures or more. Some of them are almost billionaires. Mm-hmm. And you just got to decide what level you want to play at. And free is going to be free, right? People get what they pay for. So I run a free mastermind. It's great. It's a community service for me, and it helps me to get the word out about what I'm doing and really just take a stand for what I believe is a really effective tool. And I love it, but it's not because I want to make money. That's not the reason I do it. So you just got to clear what level of play you want to play at and what you're offering. And again, it doesn't have to all be on you. You just have to create that much value to charge that much.
Totally good. Cool. So I'm pretty sure we have some people right now that are interested or curious at a minimum to learn more about you, learn more about Masterminds, and maybe making some more marbles as well. And what kind of action steps or directions would you give those curious people who are tuning in?
Yeah, so right now the book is a great option. It's $10 on Amazon for the paperback, $5 for the Kindle. You can go and grab that. Just search my name, Brad Hart, or the 8-Minute Mastermind on Amazon, and that can get to your house in anywhere from immediately to 2 days. They print them on demand too. We live in an amazing time where you can do Kindle direct publishing, which I'm so grateful for. So I don't have like stacks of these things sitting in my house. That's really cool. So that's one thing. The other thing is we have a challenge. If people want to build a mastermind, it's buildamastermind.com, buildamastermind.com/challenge. And you can start that for free. And there's also options to go and buy things as well if you like, to go further faster. And then we have a program for people who are really serious about building masterminds. This is like how to directly work with me, where you can go and learn everything I've learned. I'm always adding more value to that course. It's like the work of my life, the most important thing. So I just did a 2-hour training for my people today about advanced sales and marketing, just kind of talking about what's working, what isn't working. So that's like the pulse, right? If you really want to be on the inside, that would be a conversation worth having. But it's not for everybody. So I'd say, start with the book, start with the challenge, and go from there.
Solid. I love that. I didn't know you have a course where you also teach your marketing and sales knowledge, which is really powerful because people going up to 6 figures, that's like pretty much everything. That's going to be your bread and butter. And even then, it doesn't become irrelevant to have marketing and sales in your business, right? Super solid, man. I freaking appreciate you. This is basically the time that I thought we need. I think anybody watching, Brad is the man. If you're not sold on him by now, like buy his book and get sold later. He's the man. So build a mastermind. Let's make more marbles and have more impact in the world and do it together. I feel like connectedness is kind of the theme that we've got going here, right?
Yeah, and I guess we'll just add on that is like the whole point of everything I do is so that we can connect people at a deeper level, so that people can understand and relate to each other. Because all the problems of the world stem from people not understanding each other and not really taking the time to understand each other. We live in this crazy social media vortex now where everybody's got their own view of things and they're all mixing, matching. It's helping to get people to understand how other people are and their values and the level of it. But we need to raise the consciousness around it. It's not take everything personally and just say, what can I learn from you? And engage in a way that's kind and nurturing, not offensive and divisive.
Amen to that, Brad. Thank you so much for hopping on. Again, guys, reach out to Brad. We'll include the Build a Mastermind link in the comments where there's a 21-day challenge, right? We have the book for sale. It's totally worth it. Highly recommend. And we'll see you at the next Mastermind or inside the challenge.
Thank you, Miro. Cheers.
Much love.